This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. On the news this evening, relatives of victims of Pofa explosion in Iba, Emo are still in shock following deaths of loved ones. Pregnant woman intending bride among those killed in Pofa explosion in Iba, Emo, LGA. Organized labor in Rivers State promised to ensure state civil servants receive 35,000 naira increments. President Bulletin appoints 3 more ministers. On the foreign scene, teenager arrested for shooting at shopping mall in Bangkok. I am Kala Dakurubatabu. Good evening. Relatives of some of the victims of the explosion that occurred during an illegal oil activity in Iba, MYLJ, say they are still in shock following the untimely death of their loved ones in the fire explosion. Henry Onatebo, a clergyman from Brass local government area of Bayelsa State who lost his brother in the fire explosion, said the family is surprised that a 32-year-old Eric was involved in illegal oil refinery activities. Mr. Onatebo said the family had concluded plans to engage the late Eric in skill training before his death.
My relation is lying there as well. But coming to hear that this happened to my own person, I was surprised. My younger one is lying there helplessly. I said, what happened? He didn't have what to do, but we were trying to put him on welding so that he can manage earlier before this time that I found. The situation like this, from here to carry him to Brass and everything is somehow difficult for me. He is the one that tried to run out. Yes, was not fully burnt like the person.
Another relative who lost his sister, Mfata Prince from Rumuji, explained that she left home to live with her boyfriend in Iba. Mr. Prince said they are yet to recognize the dead body of his sister.
I never knew she left my community down to Iba. The family have called for this thing. We have actually sent a message to the gang. People that came here in the morning, they say they can't identify the body, but we are trying to do something if maybe we can identify her body. According to the boyfriend that she left, maybe towards maybe night down to here. So that was how he knew that she's involved.
Also speaking, the Chief Security Officer of Iba Obele, Rufus Weleke, expressed concern that steps taken to stop illegal oil activities in the community were not obeyed. Mr. Weleke spoke with correspondent Soibi Oduwari.
Okay, I'm Cholo, and I didn't get because federal government don't want it, and we don't want it in our community. They said some from Obodo community, some from Rumuji community, some from. My advice is that for them to stop, they should stop. If you have nothing to do, go to farm. Go to farm. I'm a farmer. I'm not working since I retired. I live in Port Harcourt. Come to farm every time with my wife. Well, I'm sure the relation will identify them and carry them away.
Another member of the local vigilante group, who is also from the community, said the number of casualties is less than the 30 persons reported. He accused the government of refusing to pay those who have been fighting illegal oil activities in the area.
It's not the 30%. So some people are telling lies what they don't know. What they find out there is 15 persons lost. But the government will make sure that they condemn the community. And 15 people that died have invaded that place to shut down that place that they are doing that illegal refinery. Can you know that the local vigilante at that community that's fighting this boy that's doing the illegal refinery, they have not paid them for more than 1 year now. When the council chairman is paying that people, I don't know why.
Some indigenes of MOI local government area also spoke on the impact of illegal oil bunkering activity, popularly known as Pofire, on their lives.
We don't breathe well again. The worst of it all is the death, because it does not give any alarm, no signal, and these ones are your loved ones, and it's bringing the eyes of the government too close to the community. Everybody is a suspect for this particular incident that has happened. There is need to end it.
The level of bunkering no good based on the way people they take die for the thing. The black suit where they bring out, they affect the climate, and people know they use them, so the rainwater they really affect them. And when it be say they wear the clothes, the heat of it now go worry the skin.
Whose side know they for bunkering? Apart from getting burnt, the effect on the human body is bad. It's not a good way of looking for money. So I condemn it in its totality. People should stop doing it. Look for other means of surviving. Go and fish, go and farm, you survive.
The order is not going to be held. It's very bad in the health system.
Meanwhile, a pregnant woman, an intending bride, and some youths were among the casualties of the fire incident that occurred in Ibak community, MOA local government area on Sunday night. The spokesperson of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC River State Command, Olufemi Ayodele, who made this known in a statement, said 18 victims were burnt beyond recognition, while 24 injured persons were rescued. The statement said preliminary findings showed that the fire was caused by a local refinery cooking port constructed close to an oil reservoir which contained materials that could easily catch fire. It said the illegal oil cooking port belonged to one Mr. John Bodo, who sustained severe fire injuries, while his son, Uche John Bodo, a graduate, died on the spot. It also said in collaboration with other security agencies, the NSCDC has identified certain areas where local refineries were constructed and such illegal sites have been taken over by the cops. It called on traditional rulers, community youths and religious leaders, amongst others, to fight against all bunkering activities in their communities by giving credible intelligence and information to the NSCDC. As you may know, the casualty figure given by the NSCDC differs from the accounts of eyewitnesses in Iba community. They say at least over 30 people died in the fire. The River State Police Command is yet to speak on this. Moving on. An organized labor in River State says it will ensure that civil servants in the state and local government areas also receive the 35,000 naira increment announced by the federal government. The chairman of NLC in River State, Alex Agwanwo, said this during an interview on Nigeria Info's Morning Crossfire. Ms. Agwanwo also spoke about the recent hike in school fees of Unity schools.
This is the first time we're having a kind of communique that cut across all sectors to make sure this is implemented at the state levels, even to the local government levels and the private sectors. The Unity schools, for now, is not part of our agreement here. Most of our workers, the tertiary institutions, we are also on salaries. That discussion has been ongoing for a very long time, but with this development, the federal government have agreed to discuss with labor for further discussion and possibly agreement on how this money is going to be paid to the tertiary institution workers.
Also speaking, the River State TUC chairman Foster Oyinfuru said both unions have agreed to follow up on the federal government plans to put the refineries in working condition within the next 6 months.
So we expect the refineries to work in the next 6 months. When you have achieved about 60% of your total demand, and then you have 40% in view that you are going to begin to work with, as has been clearly specified with timeline, 30th of this month, if nothing happens, 30 days, if nothing happens, we are going to commence on further strike action.
Some residents of Port Harcourt have applauded the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress for suspending the proposed indefinite strike. In an interview with our correspondent, the respondents expressed hope that the union's willingness to engage in dialogue with the federal government would lead to positive outcomes for workers. Others, however, expressed displeasure that the proposed strike was suspended.
Dialogue between the federal government and the leaders of the labor union was the best way to go, and I'm really happy about the fact that labor has called off the strike, and like they said, they are still in negotiation and they expect that the federal government will do 100% of all that has been agreed.
This is a welcome development from the federal government and the NUC. They've also done well, and I pray and I wish and we hope to definitely not be an audio promise. that it will be a promise that will be fulfilled, because a lot of Nigerians are suffering. We are in distress.
Who is going to take this seriously? Besides, they are not even fighting for the general masses, because at the end of the day, they know what to go home with. They had a meeting with the federal government, right? So they won't tell me that they didn't go home with anything. And did we, the masses, did we get anything?
In other news, some Port Harcourt residents say they are not surprised by the judgment of the Rivers State Governorship Election Tribunal, which affirmed the election of Siminalayi Fubara as governor. The residents, in an interview with our correspondent, urged political leaders to work together with the governor for the well-being of Rivers people, while others believe that the Supreme Court can still set aside the judgment of the tribunal.
Both parties should just work together and see how they will bring in good policies that will affect the common man in the street.
We should just no longer hold elections in this country. I will just appoint people.
We are here in Rivers State. We knew how the elections came. We are not surprised about it. Those people that are aggrieved about the result, they can still go and appeal.
Saying that he lacks the merit, I don't think that is the best way. I'm very optimistic that going forward to the appeal and to the Supreme Court, the judges in these two higher courts would look into the matter critically and give their judgments.
I think the law should compel INEC to also be on trial to defend their decision in line with the law and their own electoral guidelines. They actually fell below expectation in this 2023 election.
The chairman, Palliatives Committee of Okrika Local Government Area, Dere Biengbo of Okome, is asking the federal government to provide palliatives monthly to poor Nigerians. His comment comes after the local government distributed 600 bags of rice to the 170 polling units in the area. Each polling unit got 3 bags of rice each, that the facility challenged members of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, non-indigents, and the National Union of Local Government Employees in the area got a share of the palliatives.
Nothing will be enough, but it's very supportive. But we thank the government for seeing it that subsidy removal brings some things to the citizens, and this is a support to reduce their pains. We appreciate the government, but we expect more. I think we should be on a monthly basis till the pains are barely reduced to the minimum.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) says it has obtained an arrest warrant for former Petroleum Minister Diezani Alice Madueke. The commission says it has also initiated an extradition process from the UK. Recall that the former minister appeared before the Westminster Magistrate Court in London yesterday over an alleged £100,000 bribe. The district judge, Michael Snow, granted Alice Madueke a £70,000 bail and further imposed other terms on the former minister, including an 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, an electronic tag to be worn by her at all times, and a £70,000 surety to be paid before she could leave the court building. Still to come, President Bola Tinubu appoints 3 more ministers. Stay tuned as we go for a quick commercial break. Thank you for staying tuned. Now to the rest of the newscast. Startup South Enterprise Development, an advocacy organization aimed at building high-scale ventures in the Southeast and South-South region, is set to hold its 8th edition of the annual conference in Port Harcourt. In a press statement, the convener, Uche Aniche, said the African Innovation Community, as well as top corporate leaders and government functionaries, including the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, Inuwa Abdullahi, will be present at the event. He said participants will discuss how Nigeria and Africa will benefit from artificial intelligence. The conference will also feature breakout sessions from corporate and individual brands and an investors meetup in partnership with African Business Angel Network on Thursday, October 5, as well as an awards night on Friday, October 6, 2023. The theme for this year's conference is Deep and Bold, 5-Eye Arrow, Emerging Realities, Regional Economic Imperatives, and the Role of Innovation. The conference is sponsored by Zoho Technologies, Rapid Cabins, Bredge, and Cool FM. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, has ordered an investigation into an allegation of poor feeding of frontline troops in the Northeast Theatre of Operations. The Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Oyema Wachuku, made this known in a statement today in Abuja. General Wachuku assured the public and all Army personnel that a thorough investigation would be conducted to get to the bottom of the claims. President Bola Tinubu has appointed 3 more ministerial nominees and has written to the Senate to confirm their nominations. Senate President Godswill Akpabio read a letter from President Tinubu requesting the confirmation of 3 additional ministerial nominees. The nominees are Balarabe Abbas Lawal from Kaduna State, Dr. Jamila Bayo Ibrahim from Kwara State, and Mr. Ayodele Olawande from Ondo State. Recall that the Senate in August 2023 screened and confirmed 45 ministerial nominees and rejected 3 of them. Now in business. The Senate Committee on Gas, led by Senator Jarigbe, has urged President Bola Tinubu to expeditiously present a 2023 supplementary budget to the National Assembly to kickstart its compressed natural gas projects. In entertainment, Afrima, PMAN, and other stakeholders gathered today for an emergency summit to tackle pressing issues affecting the Nigerian music industry. The event aims to identify and implement solutions to the industry's most pressing challenges. In sports, the video assistant referee officials involved in wrongly disallowing a goal for Liverpool at Tottenham have not been selected for this weekend's Premier League games.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
On the foreign scene, a 14-year-old boy has been arrested after a shooting at a luxury shopping center in the center of Bangkok. Authorities initially said 3 people were killed at the Siam Paragon Mall, but the later update said 2 people had died. Thai police confirmed that the victims were from China and Myanmar, while 5 other people have been injured. The suspect is reported to be a pupil at a school not far from the mall. His motive is unknown. On the news this evening, you heard relatives of victims of pool fire explosion in Iba, Emoa are still in shock following the deaths of their loved ones. Pregnant woman, intending bride, are among those killed in pool fire explosion in Iba, Emoa, LGA. Organized Labour in Rivers State has promised to ensure that the state civil servants have paid the 35,000 naira increment announced by the federal government. President Bola Tinubu has appointed 3 more ministers. On the foreign scene, a teenager has been arrested for shooting at shopping mall in Bangkok. The news was edited by Onyekachi Wonsu. Mostly cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. Again, 0808 721 7215. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I am Kala Dakuru Batabo. Good evening, and do stay tuned. Hard facts continue after the break.